Hello, welcome to the Man of Thought, aka the Villain of Truth, aka the Black Panther of Nigeria. Hope everyone is doing great this evening. Um, Today my thought is not to come on live, but I just decided to simply because today is Friday and I know a lot of people are going to be busy. Sometimes I always love check on people. It's just my way of thinking. It's my process of thinking and once I'm done checking on my family, checking on the people in the community, friends, and the rest of it, the next thing is to see people online. Since I'm also on the online world, talk to a lot of people, and I want to ask us, how are we doing this Friday? What are the plans for this weekend? Let's just rub mind. Let's talk. I await my audience to join me live so we can look into subjects that we can touch on. Let me clean my screen a little bit. Okay. So welcome everyone. Welcome to the Man of Thought, aka the Villain of Truth. How are you doing this weekend? Oh, how are we doing? Let's just look into a few things. Chat up. I want to know what your plans are for the week, and let's rub mind so our weekend is gonna make sense. Because a lot of people in today's society are always used to the idea of just working every single time, and I'm only trying to promote good way of thinking of how to utilize our life effectively. And part of the way to utilize our life effectively, sometimes it has to do with how we relate with people with the available time we have, and how we don't just take up our time being busy without doing anything, and holding ourselves hostage in a sense that we could have used that same moment to relate and create more future relationship, but rather sometimes we just focus on ourselves and the rest of it. So what's the plan like? I would just give you advice before I round up for now. If you have anything you want to discuss with me, please feel free to discuss with the Man of Thought. Any question? Are you planning this weekend to be with your boyfriend and your girlfriend? What are your plans? Do you have any intention of surprising them? What do you intend doing this weekend? Are you a religious person? Are you planning to go see God by the end of the week? Is that your plan for this week? Whatever your plans are, it is always welcome. We don't necessarily have to see eye to eye on everything. There's a presence of what we all do not understand. But what matters to us is that do we all feel good? And if we are not feeling good, regardless of our belief, regardless of what we choose to practice or whatever our faith is, if it doesn't serve us by we feeling good about what we do and fulfilling our desires as people, then it is like we are actually failure in whatever we are believing in. And that's why I mostly tell people to question whatever they believe in. And the only reason why you have to question whatever you believe in is if whatever you believe in or your faith, if it's not serving the purpose it's supposed to serve, that means if it's not working in a way that you feel fulfilled, you have your desires are being met, and you feel like you are living the life you ought to live. That's the bone of contention when it comes to the idea of fulfillment. We don't necessarily have to agree on many things. And you see, there's something that is kind of funny these days. I could remember this evening my wife was saying certain things to me like, oh, I have some controversial videos. Like I talked about few things on Candace Owen and the rest of it. And it's surprising that regardless of what the people in the Western culture have believed in, and part of the things that have been going on in social media, when I spoke about Candace Owens, some people have different views on it. And they're like, oh, why would you say Candace Owens is so smart and the rest of it? I wasn't saying Candace Owens is not smart, but I'm just like, sometimes when you turn against your people, you should understand that your ancestors themselves might fight you later. Maybe that's part of the backlash that she's actually seeing in her life at the moment. I'm not happy it's happening to her, but it is apparent that things like this would happen because when you betray your group and you move to another group, do not expect that those people from the other group that you betray your own group, don't think they can ever trust you. And some people will say, oh, she's actually saying the truth. But I have fact checked a lot of the things that Candace Owens have said in the past that were not actually true. But maybe when people watch my video, sometimes people just go around 3 minutes, and after 3 minutes, they move on to the next thing and they make their comment and they move on. So you don't even know the things that she has said in the past that does not align. But basically, because she has been kicked out of the Daily Wire, a lot of the blacks, um, ignorantly or with their consciousness, some people still think that, oh, she has done what is right in the past. And even regardless of the fact that she beat down her own people with the words of her mouth and not giving them a lot of support, maybe she's still doing something that is right. That's none of my business. At the end of the day, I only speak on what I see. I might not be correct. You see, the idea of news is not for you to be correct, but it's for you to bring out certain things that can raise questions from people, and then a dialogue can actually come up. And that's how I view it. Ever since I made a decision to come on social media, my intentions is never for people to love me. In fact, I don't speak so anyone is going to love me. I speak on the idea of how I view things, and how I view things does not necessarily have to correlate with how a lot of people should view things. It is just that the solution to majority of our problem is that we have to ask ourselves the right questions. The right question may start with the wrong questions. And so, for you to be able to enjoy life, you need to also understand that people would definitely always disagree with your viewpoint, and that should be okay with life. And I know a lot of us have lived our life this week, and one of the things that might be a problem to us on how we are feeling at the moment might have been what someone said to us, how we feel about someone's perception. Someone might have provoked us early this week, or probably even today. And a lot of us will want to take those burden, and it might, if you are not careful, you might go ahead with this particular energy throughout the weekend. So it is always important that when it is weekend like this, you're careful, you reflect on yourself, and while you reflect on how your week has gone, the best thing you can also do is make a decision about who are the most important people in your life, and how are you viewing life. How are you enjoying your life? Is it actually going towards your direction? Everything does not necessarily have to go towards your direction, to be honest, but at least you just have to, wow, you just woke up. Yeah, like I said, I just woke up. I've been relaxing since. I've been making some content, and I've uploaded a lot of content today, about 3 of them. Hello, Lisa. How are you doing, ma'am? I hope you're doing great. I hope you had a great day. I've been relaxing since morning, but I've been working also. I did some content. I went to pay visits to certain individuals, look at some people in my community, reach out to few people, reach out to the families, and the rest of it. So that's how the week has actually, today specifically, that's how it has been. And I'm like, oh, before I would round up for today, I also have a family Okay, 3:41 p.m. on East Coast. And I'm like, perhaps before I prepare for today, I'm running out. I have to see my family online. And so that's why I'm here. If there are any discussions, anything you would like us to discuss, anything that bothers your mind, whatever you have been thinking during the week and you feel like let's look into it and talk about it, discuss about few things, it will be good for you to bring it up. Any question at all, even if it's something that happens to someone and you have been thinking about it and you think you just want to test it out. Sometimes it's not because your thoughts are not right, but sometimes you can see how people will view it, and then it might help you to be able to correct few things. Our thought is not always accurate. Sometimes it is not always accurate regardless of the information we have. But sometimes, being when we share our ideas with people, we can see different insights. And so I want to use this moment for us to um, let's just reason together. At the end of the day, I'm happy with the way things are going based off news when it comes to the idea of Donald Trump and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Hopefully, Donald Trump wins, but regardless, let the best person win. The biggest view would have been whoever is doing what is right should be the winner. Who has the best interest of the people should be the winner at the end of the day. But at the moment, let us talk about ourselves. How did our week go? What is troubling us during the week? What would we love to have shared with our friends or with certain individuals in our life? And while we think about it, we are like, oh, I don't know how to go about it. Or I want to even test few things. Um, this is Tanto Labori Mayos Premium. Hey, man. Hello, how you doing, sir? I don't know where that name is coming from, but I can't even predict it. But it's great having you on today's show. You're right, I'm from Nigeria because I can see our flag there. So I'm from Nigeria. Today tends to be Friday, and we are just having a random talk. It's Latin. Oh, well done, sir. This is a beautiful thing about this live show. Sometimes we use these particular things to learn. Then we are brothers. Yeah. Yes, we are. I see everyone as my brothers, in fact. Oh, Mr. Peter was rough. My dog got sick and I had a lot of work. Oh, sorry, Mr. Peter. First of all, good day, sir. Um, Sorry about that. It's not a good thing when dog falls sick because there's this thing about humans. Our consciousness when we begin to raise certain pets to those of us who are conscious enough, when we begin to raise pets, we I'm doing great, sir. Mr. Peter, when we begin to raise pets, we kind of start having conscious part and we begin to embody the pains and the life of those animals, and we kind of get attached. That's the best way to put it. We kind of get attached with them. And so we don't want to see them in a bad condition. It's kind of affect us psychologically, emotionally, not just psychologically. It affects us emotionally. And I think that is one of the power of love. And the problem is that it is easy for us to reciprocate the same thing to few things that does not even understand our language. But some individuals, some people, they don't know how to reciprocate the same energy when it comes to humans, basically because of the dynamics, maybe of the fact that we have almost similar abilities. but I know how it's going to be stressful because I had some dogs at some point. I had about 7 dogs. I had Lhasa, I had German Shepherd, I had Caucasian, I had I think 2 German Shepherd, I had Samoyed, and one again. I've forgotten that dog. But when I moved to this environment, I lost most of my dogs. Snake bites and some diseases, and I could not get vets around this place because when I came it was very bushy. What I was expecting was not what I saw. They had to lie to me, like people were living here, there were schools, there were hospitals, there were this and that, and when I came in I just saw everything was forced. So sorry about that, Mr. Peter. I hope it's not diarrhea that is the problem of the dog. I don't know. It seems as if I have two Mr. Peter. One Mr. Peter is always on blue, and the other one is the one I'm speaking to, is on green. Yeah, sorry about that, sir. So, what are we thinking about? What are our plans for the weekend? And for me, I would always want to say this, that regardless of the fact that our week is stressful, let us always make out time like this and understand that time like this, it's just like a mini season, and this season is for us to reflect on ourselves and reflect on the people that are the most meaningful people in our life. Maybe plants, maybe dogs, maybe animals, maybe humans, relative. Let us take time to reflect on these things and try our best to reach out to them, because at the end of the day, our work and whatever we do, probably I'll call it our jobs or whatever we do to be able to survive, would not matter to us that much. Lisa has been enjoying her life, cleaning, cooking, relaxing. That's heaven on earth. That's heaven on earth. You guys are kind of enjoying, in US there, you guys are kind of enjoying. I'm going to cook a French chicken recipe and watch a movie. Okay, Lisa says this weekend. So you, that's interesting. It's a good thing when you guys are planning for the weekend, and the weekend seems like it's cool. I straighten up during the week. I deep clean on the weekend. Okay, that's great. It seems as if there are more positive things going on in our life, more than the negative things, and that's how it's supposed to be. And for those who are also joining, if you have anything you want to discuss about or whatever troubles your mind, please feel free. We can all look into it and have a conversation on it. I'm really happy Mr. Peter and Miss Lisa are doing great. Simple life and save money. How about you? What do you do in your spare time? That's from Mr. Peter. My spare time, most times in my spare time, I think I just meditate, I read, and I exercise. I play with my children, most especially. And I'm going to find a tree in the park of to rest my feet on. That's very important. If you can, you're going to experience something different. If you can, you would experience something different. So for me, according to the question of Mr. Peter, I play with my children, my spare time. I play with my children, my wife. I read, I meditate. What else? What else? I write. I write. I write a lot. even things that don't make sense. As long as my spirit is giving me things to write up, I just keep writing those things. It's like sometimes I find it difficult to shut down my spirit, not because it's difficult. Your sons sound so smart. Yeah, yeah, we are trying our best. We're trying our best. When it comes to my son, we are trying our best. And the best thing any parent can give to the children, I think, is just your presence. Your presence is kind of good enough, because there's a difference between providing things for your children, and there's a difference between letting your children understand that you truly love them. And the importance of showing children that you love them, telling them that you love them, makes them understand that I am being welcomed to this life. I am in this life because I have a purpose for it. Does your culture require arranged marriage for your sons and daughters? Yes, they do require arranged marriage for your sons and daughters. Yes, they do in certain areas, depending on how parents actually appear in the life of their children. In some places, Yoruba, for example, you can teach your children so much about respect and honor, and you tell them that you make them feel like they have to give you all that respect and honor every single time. And before you know, your children begin to perceive you as their parents as a god, as a mini god. And so it is easy for you to tell them, get married to this person and not get married to this person. But I, as a person, I teach my children not to be obedient. I tell them not to be obedient. I tell my wife never for us not to raise our children to be obedient. Um, no, I can't do that. That's why I said I don't teach my children to be obedient. I teach my children to think for themselves, because based off what I've read on different book in history, I've seen that obedience is the cornerstone for slavery. Whenever you want to enslave someone, you have to give them a mentality to be obedient. That's just the cornerstone. So, for example, one of the things I do with my son, or one of our principles in my house, is if I ask my son to do something and he doesn't understand the reason behind what I ask him to do, he has to ask me the question, Daddy, why did you ask me to do this particular thing? Or Mommy, why did you ask me to do this particular thing? And then we would explain the purpose behind the actions that we are asking him to take. Not just doing it because we are his parents, but asking questions and understanding the purpose behind it. That's exactly how we establish our relationship with our children. Yeah. Yeah, I think when you give children the right tools, and the right tools, what career opportunities will your children have in your culture? Does society expect them to follow in your path? I think that when when you live a life that tends to be right, and no life is actually right. When you do certain things that is very successful, sometimes your expectation is that your children would emulate the same thing. But what I am actually doing is that there are few principles that I think are more important in life for me, which is like, for my children, one of the things I expect from them is look at few things in my life. You don't necessarily have to follow that same path, but look at these certain principles, which is do things that support you and your family, and then do things that also support the community and the society. Do not participate in the things that are degeneracy. So look at the yourself. Do you feel good? Try to give to the people in the community and in the society in the best way. It doesn't have to be financial. You can help them in many ways. that is part of your duty and your work in life. Your job is only what you do to make money. Investing, saving, and all those kind of stuff, those are for you. But more or less, you need to understand that your work is to take care of the things that are being given to you in life. And if you take good care of them, it will fulfill you consciously and subconsciously. And those are the basic principles, I think. And identify snakes, identify liars, identify people who tell you the truth, identify all these people, but you don't necessarily have to make them your enemy. But when you see them, you know them, and so you know how to move with them. So that's just it. That's why DMX will always say something like, trust a snake to bite you, trust a liar to lie to you, trust a thief to always steal from you, but trust in the fact that you can see them well and know them when you see them. The idea is not to make them your enemy. The idea is to know what they stand by. Emmanuel Albert says that I think you're wrong. The right way to put it, you teach them to question everything. Obedience relays a different meaning. Um, you are you have to understand the only instinct in humans that helps us grow is fear. Without fear, we will not try. If you aren't scared of failure, you wouldn't want to be successful. He also said, that sounds classical, Sikh philosophy, a bit like Francis of Assisi. Okay, that's from Peter. Emmanuel Albert says, I am a father, and as someone who is super rational, I believe my kids should have the ability to learn, question everything, and also understand the importance of following rules and living by guided principles. Now, I think I explained something, and when I said I don't teach my children to be obedient, is do not do things. What I meant by that statement is do not do things without understanding why. Try to ask why, because when you understand the reason why you're doing it, it gives you a better understanding why you're doing that particular thing. That is what I mean by I don't teach my children to be obedient. I teach them to be able to question everything. And let me say this: my son has been in school for maybe is going to be in soon. He's moving to the next class. But ever since my son has been in school, he has always been the first. He has always been the first. He has never, and I don't take that first class as anything. It doesn't mean anything to me, because just first doesn't mean anything. It's just a number, and just because you're first in your class every single time does not mean that you are first in life. But what one of the things I saw was that if he did not understand things, he finds it comfortable to question the teachers that I don't understand this particular thing you say, rather than the teachers teaching him, and he just accepts it even without understanding. Because when you said something about fear, that fear helps us to be able to grow, we also have to understand that I teach my son not to be afraid of anything. In fact, don't be afraid of darkness, don't be afraid of anyone. Be free to be able to question people, and understand that when you question them, they might be upset at you, they might not be happy about the question, but ask it in a way that you want to actually understand what they mean. And with that, I think it's helping him along the line, because they still have a long journey, and my daughter too, they have a long journey ahead of them. um and living by guided principles, yeah, understanding the principles of life. Exactly, you got gave a more definitive explanation. Yeah, I felt people might misunderstand obedience. Yeah, you're right, sir. uh and one of the things I do when it comes to the idea of even religion, I always try to tell my son, like, they God has already created something. One of the perception I give my son about, I teach my children, is that God has already created something, and there are certain principles that have existed between man for a very long time. Those principles never change. For example, sowing and reaping is a season that will never change in the history as long as man exists. I don't care what we do with AI, we are not going to eat ions. We are still going to eat food. When you eat healthy, your body is going to be healthy. These are principles of life. Seasons of life also come. And in the seasons whereby people are going to die, you are going to lose certain things. There are all these principles. They are more or less for me like the principle. This is what I even identify as God for me. So when you also say positive things to people and you are being positive in life, positive energy returns back to you. And if you participate so much on negative things also happen to you. And Bible says something, let's just put it in that way. Bible says, I honor my word than my name. And so you actually need to ask yourself, what are the words of God? The words of God are actually the principles of life, and it makes you to want to flourish for a very long time. So understand those principles because they will guide you along the line. You might not understand everything behind the principle, but you can actually see with time, and you can grow with it with time. So part of it is just those principles. Look at the principles and the rest of it. You said my own definition of for fear. That's from Emmanuel Albert. It says my own definition for fear is understanding it, recognizing it, and confronting it. Our kids shouldn't fear, but look to conquer it. Absolutely, I agree with you. I agree 1000%. And I think it is one of the things that have actually helped me in my life. Actually, I think that's what awareness is. And I tell people, like, when you feel any emotion inside of you, recognize exactly that emotion. Don't fight it, don't deny the emotion, but recognize that emotion. The emotion is there to actually guide you. Even jealousy, even envy, even pride, it is there to guide you. It is just because sometimes we try to deny these things and we want to pretend they don't exist inside of us, simply because if we tell the world that we felt these things, they might see us to be dangerous. Yeah, they might see us to be dangerous. And but we cannot deny the fact that every human being, we all feel these things at some point. So if someone is successful more than me in certain areas in life, and I wish to be that successful, and I see that person and I feel jealous inside of me, I know that is the spirit of jealousy. And I just say, okay, this is jealousy, this is what I feel. It wants exactly what you have or something like that, but I don't necessarily have to go through the same thing you have gone through to be able to achieve this. Maybe I can create my own path to be able to have something similar. And the question is, why do I want it? I have to also ask myself, hope I'm not being greedy, because greed is also an emotion. Being greedy is also an emotion. Maybe sometimes we want everything to ourselves. And so I need to understand that if this thing that this person have is not important in my life, maybe at the moment, maybe it's not just important to me. I need to identify the fact that I am just being jealous. It's not what I actually need in my life because it's not going to fulfill me. So awareness, and that's the reason why I talk to people mostly about consciousness and awareness, because it's very important. Knowing exactly what you're thinking, knowing exactly what you're feeling, and being able to define it, that this is exactly what I feel, and then use it in a way that it's going to be positive rather than making it so much negative. And trust me, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be negative at some point, but I think if you're more conscious, you would rather choose things that will give you a better emotion than what will give you negative emotion. Emmanuel Albert says that you just confronted those emotions and channeled it. that you didn't let the emotions define you, you defined those emotions. Absolutely. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir. Seven says, in the material world, most is negative. It's how you deal with it. Um, I think in the material world, I am trying to even identify few things in the material world that are actually negative. I think most of the things in the material world are actually positive. I think it is basically because of competition and greediness. That's the reason why we have made everything look negative. For example, um, in my home right now, I might not need more than $50,000. Let's just put that as an example. I don't even have that. But let's say $10,000 can take me for maybe 3 months, 4 months, or to do a lot of things in my life. And I will be comfortable to be able to reach out to other people and to the people in my communities. For example, somebody else might have $30,000, and because the person has $30,000, I feel like I am being oppressed because the person actually have that $30,000, and I want to have that $30,000, not because it is meaningful to me, but because I want to show that person that I'm living a better life than them. And it is just because of we have started living the life of showcasing, that is why it seems like the material things are making us act negative. For example, guns don't kill people, knife don't kill people, people kill people. So people use those materials to do the evil. Right now we have a lot of we have this technology, which is the phone. I can communicate with you, you can write your things, and we can discuss on many things. I've learned few things about from maybe Mr. Emmanuel Albert, from Mr. Peter, from Lisa, and we have been able to communicate to see our future, and including you seven. But certain people will still have the same phone, and all they keep doing is watching pornography and masturbating 24/7. It is just a tool. A tool is neither good nor bad, it is how you decide to use it. The question is, how are you using it? Then when it comes to success, why would you need someone else's success when it's not really important to you? We have to be able to define fact. It is literally a tool. Yeah. So Peter says, what is the best revenge for someone who had belittled you, surviving and enjoying the life? What is the best revenge for someone who had belittled you, surviving and enjoying the life? I think the best thing you can do in life is to just become the better version of yourself. And the better version of yourself is inclusive. The better version of yourself is loving. The better version of yourself is doing what is important in your life. Because trust me, the people who belittle you, the only time they feel like they've actually belittled you is when you actually show that you have been belittled. For example, you're surviving in spite of what they wanted. Yes. For example, I cannot be ashamed of something because you say something, except I'm ashamed of that thing that you talked about. So, and when you see that whenever you say those kind of stuff, it makes me ashamed. Now I have given a power to you, and you begin to use that to put me in a negative spot. And trust me, whenever life is not going well for you, then you just look at me and you're like, if life is not going well for me, life shouldn't go well for you. It's the same thing that works in every human's life. You can't give what you don't have. And you see that miserable people always want others to be miserable. And so we have to be careful the power we give to others. And so when someone believes you, just live your life. Continuously live your life and do the best thing you can do to make sure that you are doing fine and you're taking good care of people. Because for me, I do not understand how one can have a good life by focusing on yourself only. I don't know why the principle of life does not support the idea of we focusing on ourselves only. Focusing on yourself is very good. It helps you to be able to improve yourself, do a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, for you to be able to get fulfilled in life, it has to engage other things around you, which is humans, plants, trees, animals, whatever surrounds you. You have to take care of all these things. And that's the only time you feel joy, full joy inside of you. There's a difference between joy and happiness. You're happy when something happens for you. You're joyful when things happen for a group of people. And trust me, happiness like this can always switch, but joy is something that lasts for a long time. And so I mostly focus on what is going to make me joyful, and which is investing in myself and others. It is very important. Once you're doing that, no one can have control over your spirit. These are just principles of life that I think exist, that has always existed emotionally, and it makes us who we are as people. Sometimes you see certain individuals who have everything they wanted in their life, money, cars, and the rest of it, and they feel miserable inside of them. And the reason is simply because um, you're very wise, brother. Thank you for your knowledge. Oh, thank you very much, Danny. Thanks for joining. I appreciate. Like I was saying earlier, you might you might see certain people who have money and they've been able to accomplish a lot of things that we consider to be successful in life. And at the end of the day, you see these individuals, they are miserable. And you ask yourself, why are they miserable? Um, I think one of the reasons is basically because during the time that they were chasing success, when they were trying to become wealthy in life or to become successful in life, they so much focused on themselves. And when you focus so much on yourself and you improve yourself and you grow and you become very wealthy and you accomplish everything you want in life, you become very skeptical of everyone around you. Even those who were with you when you were low in life, it seems as if everyone just want to take something from you. You don't trust anything around you. So the best way to live your life is that when you grow with people, while you are investing in yourself, if you are also investing in others and you all are growing together, when you grow and you become successful, you don't live in that panic mode. You don't live in that panic mode. You are in a mode like life is a blessing. You see life as a blessing. Your success becomes a blessing because it is about sharing, giving and sharing. And that's the best thing you can feel. But when you did everything all by yourself, there is a negative impact in your life when you do everything by yourself. I don't know why. But when you look at the water, you can separate water. When you look at the soil, you can separate soil. When you look at gods, according to the Bible, you can separate angels. God can use one angel, but he decided to have multiple angels. God can create one human being, but he decided to create multiple humans. You know, everything is multiple, and the idea is for everything to grow. There is no forest without group of trees and flowers and all this kind of stuff. So as humans, you need to understand that there is a power in unity and loving people and working together, regardless of the fact that you want to be successful. You only ask yourself, who are the right people in my life? And some people will get certain things wrong. One of the things we get wrong is that we need to be able to separate our success or our dream life or our vision. We need to ask ourselves, regardless of our vision, we need a team to be able to accomplish certain vision or work in our life. But at the same time, we need certain people that are different. And these particular people are the ones that make our emotions balanced in life, the ones that make us actually belong in life. Just because you are working with certain people and you have a dream and you want to accomplish a big company and the rest of it, you might need a friend of maybe 20 who are also goal chasers, and these people are good in your life to be able to accomplish that goal. If you neglect all these other people who make life mean something to you, and you just focus on these other individuals, after a period of time when you accomplish it, these people are just goal getters. And apart from getting goals, you don't have anything really deep. So there are people you need to establish in your life, those who have more love, those who you can trust, those people who you can share things with. You need to have those people also in your life. But sometimes in life we have become so much goal-getter that we take off all these other people that are very important in our life, and we just focus on this side. And then when we finally achieve the goal, then we feel the emptiness inside our soul. And when you see people think of taking their life, is simply because life to them, they start having this belief that they don't belong here. And the only way you know you don't belong here, it's basically because of your emotions, your feelings, and your interactions. And I always tell people also that that's the reason why I sometimes practice the act of going close to the tree, staying close to the trees, close to nature, and putting my foot on the ground. Because when you feel this good energy around you, you know that life actually welcome you. Um, to hear your message, the world will be a better place. Oh, thank you very much, Emmanuel Albert. Thank you very much, sir. So the humans welcoming you is one thing. Having the loving of humans is one thing. Also, having the connection to Earth itself is very important. Knowing fully well that regardless of the fact that you have the good humans in your life and you have your visions and the rest of it, you need to understand that in the world, does Earth itself fully welcome you? Are you attached to the soil where you came from? Are you attached to the ground where you walk on? You need to have those connections, and that's the reason why I have trees around all my properties. And whenever I'm close to those trees, I put my foot on the ground. And I've told people that it is not like I'm trying to create any magic. This is not about magic. This is just about vibration. It changes your vibration. It makes you feel like life is wonderful when you're close to the trees. When you're close, I don't know. Maybe we evolved through these things. I don't know. I have no clue about it. But what I can say is that we are kind of connected to all these things. Maybe because we feed from them. I don't know. But I believe when you're close to it, when you're close to the trees and your foot are on the ground, it just changes that vibration inside of you. And there's something inside of you that raises your, I don't even know how to put it in words, but it's just a different experience. Yeah, maybe seven you put it in the right way. Maybe it grounds you. Maybe it grounds you. Yeah. So you feel like I belong here. This There's something here. And you know, too many good vibration, when you're in the right frequency, you can see things clearly. Just like a radio station, you can keep tuning a radio station. If it is not in the accurate frequency, the channel might not be very clear. So channeling your body and putting yourself in the right frequency in life, it helps you to understand people more rather than being angry at a lot of people. It shows you what people are going through. It's more or less like when you are in the right frequency of life, the world is just like a game and you can see everything that is actually happening. But if you are not actually grounded, just like Seven says, and you are not in the right frequency, you are just part of the game. And in the game, there is no winner. It is just filled with drama. The problem is that in society, a lot of people appreciate so much drama than living a true life. And so, those are part of the problems of humans, but I believe with time, we are going to grow as people. It is kind of impossible in certain areas. They say impossibility lies in the book of a fool, but it looks kind of impossible because of the society we've built today. But at the end of the day, we can actually work on ourselves, choose certain individuals, raise those people's consciousness, and you know, when a lot of us can have a fulfilled life, when we have peace inside of us, we would just be like a tree where whenever people are under the sun, you want to go under the tree to relax. And so I'm coming. Let me just read this so I will continue on the conversation. It says also when have a collective of interest from different individuals, you vibrate even negative people around you. Although they might resist, but it uplifts their vibration. True. Emmanuel Albert says in physics, there is a newer study called biosignals. Okay, let me write it down. Biosignals. So I will check about few things on it. Okay, it says they call it biosignals. It is resonance. At the moment you tune your own frequency to resonate with that of your surroundings. Quantum realm. Seven says quantum realm. I love learning. Yeah. Sometimes I tell people like the blue apple. I haven't heard of the blue apple. Please explain it. Is there something I'm not getting? The blue apple. Yes. In order to be enlightening. Okay, okay, okay. I often go into nature to meditate and listen to the birds. Life is tough, but I ask to always be strong. But I ask to always be stronger. Mm. I often go into nature to meditate and listen to the birds. Life is tough, but I ask to always be stronger. Okay, okay. The same thing applies to the quantum realm. Look up string theorem in mathematics. At the end of the day, we are all sets of electrons vibrating at different frequency, just like a string. Absolutely, absolutely. You see, there's something I always talk to certain individuals when I see them preach the gospel, or they say they are going out to preach the gospel. I'm like, there's a difference when you're preaching and there's a difference when you're teaching. If you actually study everything on earth, yeah, actually, they are vibrations. And I think when you have too many negative vibration, it can distort your your mind. It can distort your brain. It can distort a lot of things. And then your reaction becomes poor to other people. And one of the things I've learned, there was somebody who said something here. We are about 2% material and 98% energy. I would agree with that also. I often go to nature to meditate and listen to the birds. Life is tough, but I ask to always be stronger. Danny, I would say this. I used to believe before that life is tough, but you see, there's something about human mind that is kind of powerful. If you lie to yourself over and over again, and you keep lying to yourself, I don't care what you tell yourself, your subconscious begins to believe it. And when your subconscious begins to believe it, it begins to reflect in your actions with time. Just because you have gone through hard things in life does not mean life is hard. I repeat, just because you have gone through hard things in life does not mean life is hard. The problem is that some people are trying to make their life mean something, and so they have to have that mindset that life is hard because for them it gives them a meaning, something. Well, let me read what he wrote. He says, wow, you're a great learning experience in it. It's writing in stone. Okay. Even took even a rock as consciousness. Yeah. Um, let me say this. And I'm speaking perhaps to what Danny wrote. You see, when you ask a lot of people about life today, most people try to tell, if you ask them about their life, they always want to tell you what they've been through. They want to tell you how difficult life is. Why? Because we think sharing the negative side of our life make us belong to a group. That is the reason. It is a mentality of the oppressed. When you are being oppressed, because life to a lot of people, they see it like things are bad. And so when you sound like I am privileged or I am grateful for the kind of life I've lived, some people would be like, you don't understand what we have been through, and that means you're not part of our group. But I rather even see it from this aspect that when you are more gracious and grateful about life, your perception begins to change, that everyone wants to attach themselves with you. Trust me, if you see a happy person, someone who is always happy, for example, Danny, let me just assume, okay, I believe you might be a male or whatever. A happy man or a happy female, if you are the opposite gender and this person is good, and you see that this person is always happy, you see that you always want to connect yourself with that person. It is very important for you to note that the reason why you want to connect with a lot of people is basically because you see that they are happy. Nobody, okay, happy female. Okay, you're a female. Okay, so when you see a man who is doing well, who shows not just confidence but graciousness and appreciation, you just see something different about those people and you want to attach yourself with them. If you see a miserable man, someone who is always angry, You don't want to attach yourself with that person. So it is a state of mind. My experience has been bad. Your experience, part of your experience, not your experience in life is bad. Part of our experiences in life are bad. Part of our experiences in life are good. But we are using the bad experience of our life to define life. And we always say, even when things are going well for us, we are like, life is tough. Life ain't tough. I've been in prison. I tell people my house have been burnt twice. My shop has been destroyed twice. I've been in police custody over and over again. I've slept on a dustbin for a very long time. I didn't take my bath for almost 2 months. My foot was smelling. I put on a shoe. I didn't change my clothes for a very long time. I have been beaten. A lot of things have happened in my life. But that doesn't mean that I have to attach myself to those experiences of my life. They were just a learning point in my life. I have to see life as a gift. And if you don't see life as a gift and you are holding on to the past and you say life is tough, even when God is now giving you the blessings of life, you can't see them because you are always holding on to something in the past. The idea is for you to learn something and grow from it. Every experience of my life is for me to grow from it. When I see the people who lay false allegation on me and they put me in prison, I don't get upset with them. I just smile. It was a great experience. Everything you have in life today, be it good or bad, it is just an experience. Find something to be gracious for, but because if you are not alive, if you are not conscious, you wouldn't experience them. Knowing fully well that a time will come in your life that you wouldn't have the opportunity to experience these things anymore. And so, it is a blessing. Life is a gift for me. And I think when you have that mindset, it raises your consciousness to be able to see life in the positive light rather than seeing it from the negative light. Lisa says that he's joyful individual. Okay. Lisa says, question, does something without a purpose have value? Question, does something without a purpose have value? I'm confused with that statement, but maybe you can phrase it better for me so I can understand. We are like radios and we may tune in. Everything has a purpose. Absolutely. Emmanuel Albert says, Lisa, I think the idea of purpose is subjective. Thank you, Seven, and thank you, the man of thought. You have helped me to start thinking differently. You're right, we are not victims. Absolutely. Thank you very much for your understanding also. Lisa says, last video you said life has no purpose. Yeah. Yeah. I said life has no meaning. I didn't say life has no purpose. Life has no meaning. The meaning and what I meant by that statement, yes, life has no meaning. We are all creating different meanings. Now, let's put it this way. If life truly have a meaning, then we would have a definition of life. And that definition will be okay for every single person. We all can agree that the definition of death simply means physical death, simply means someone is gone. So there's a definition for it. In life, there is no specific definition for life. So it actually does not have a specific meaning. It is what you bring out of the lessons. You can create your own meaning in it. But I always tell people that it is better to just pick up the lessons in it. Stop holding on to meaning. Because whatever life meant to you 20 years ago is not what life means to you 10 years ago. It is not what life means to you at the moment. And 10 years and 20 years from now, your perceptions in life is going to change. And so the meaning of what you have right now is absolutely going to change in the future. Emmanuel Albert says that exactly we actually create our reality, all of us together. I mean, if I book an appointment with you, if I meet up with you, we link up our word line because I just created a reality where we met. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, 7 says when the rich person thinks they themselves have more purpose now, that's when they are wearing a mask. Absolutely. Absolutely. They want to become the savior of the world. Trust me, if you actually read the scripture very well, Jesus was not saying, I am saving the world. He said, I am laying down my life. It is a two different statements. I am saving the world looks like it is my purpose to save the world. I am the biggest person, because when you say you truly have a purpose, yes, there are experiences in our life at this particular junction, within our environment and the rest of it. Why we are born in those particular family, what I do mostly tell people is that wherever you come from, you have to understand the history of where you are coming from, and then use the knowledge of what has happened in the past. Look at your presence right now and ask yourself, where would you want life to go? Where do you think those who have lived before, where do you think they would wish that you go with life, with the present things that are now available with you? What if they have the same opportunity you have right now? What do you think they would do differently? You have to see life not just from your own perspective, from the perspective of those that have lived before you and the perspective of those who will come after you, and ask yourself, what would they wish they also can do? How would they be so grateful for your existence to put them in a better condition? When you're seeing from when you can see things from many angles, it kind of helps you to be able to walk in a path that serves many purpose, not just your own purpose. All prophets, by 7, it says, all prophets look at properties as temporary. Material world is only about another shade. Definitely. Definitely. It has its part. You see, some of the things that religion kind of get a little bit wrong. This is where religion gets certain things wrong. Is that religion would sometimes tell us that material world, don't pay attention to the material world. Who are the people having the private jets? Men of God. Who are the people building mansions? Men of God. Who are the people building the biggest auditorium? Men of God. Who are the ones doing the most classical things? Men of God. Who are the people having bodyguard regardless of the fact that they believe in the Messiah? Men of God. So, material has a role to play in your life. When you downplay the importance of something, the importance of it will show up later. It's like you downplaying your experience in life. Your experience is there. The only thing is that when you over worship something, when you take something too serious, that is when you begin to fall under the prey, or you become a prey to that particular idea. Religion is actually a low vibration. Hopefully other people will be able to understand. So for me, I always tell people that spirituality is not religion. Religion is an institution for you to transcend into spirituality. And in spirituality, there is no identity and there's no professionalism. And so you can see a lot of people who call themselves Christians and Muslims, and they tell you that they serve one God, but Christians cannot go to the mosque and the Muslim cannot come to the church. How can you say you all serve one God and none of you can go into other people's place to worship? Why? It is basically because you guys have so much identity and you have not yet moved into the spiritual perception of seeing things. Because when you are in the spiritual world, there is neither male or female, there is neither church or mosque. If we are talking about God, for example, or spirituality, there is no mosque, there is no church, there is no Muslim, there is no Christian, there is no male, there is no female, there is no children, there is no adult, there is no professional, there are no illiterate. It is just a platform for growth and consciousness. That's what you have, and grace and love. Those are the things you can use in viewing life. Emmanuel Albert says that thanks for a grateful evening. I have to exit now. It's been a lovely discussion. What's your streaming time frame? I kind of stream around 7 p.m. just because today is Friday. I made a decision to make it around 8. 7 p.m. most times, that's when I stream. Thank you very much for joining, Emmanuel Albert. Thanks, I really appreciate. If an enlightened individual shows today the places of worship, will him or her, you are yet to complete your message. If an enlightened individual shows today the places of worship, will him or her? All right, Danny. Identity is of ego and God is of consciousness. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Danny. Thanks for joining today. We are also going to be rounding up very soon. We're going to be rounding up very soon. Um, you're right, 7. The idea is for us to just raise our consciousness so we can just live a good life. This is just a gift. We have turned a gift that is given to us to, it's like I give you something to help you and you turn it against yourself and you begin to whip yourself with something that is supposed to be a blessing. If you do not have the basic understanding on how to use a gift, you most likely will use it as a weapon, and the weapon would not just inflict pain on others but including yourself. So that's the problem we have with the world today. But hopefully we are continuously going to be having great conversations like this. Thank you everyone for joining. Lisa, thank you. 7, thank you. Danny, thank you. Emmanuel Albert, who has left already. Thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you, Mr. Peter. Hope to have discussions with you guys tomorrow by God's grace, around 7 p.m. tomorrow, Saturdays, because we are going to be having discussions on Sunday. So it was enlightening. I appreciate you. Have a great night. See you in my next video. Adios, amigos. Bye bye for now.